Hi, Epiphany. Happy Thursday. Great to see you. Gospel of John. Jesus has just met with Mary on the road to Bethany. She comes out, fired up. Hey, Lord, had you been here, Lazarus wouldn't have died. Yet still, I understand. I love you, and I know that he will be raised on the last day in the resurrection. Verse 25, chapter 11. Jesus says to her, I am the resurrection and the life. Those who believe in me, even though they die, will live, and everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this? Let's be super clear, right? John. So let me just say something about the Gospel of John that might be helpful. Is Jesus walking around all the time and saying, I'm the resurrection, I am the life, I am the bread of life, I am, the light of the world? I don't know. I find it unlikely that Jesus was saying those kinds of things. What I do believe is that the author of the Gospel of John was hearing and knowing the truth of those things as he witnessed what Jesus did in the world. And so, I don't know if Jesus says, I'm the resurrection and the life. Those who believe in me, though they die, will live, and everyone who lives and believes in me will never die. Do you believe this? When the author of the Gospel of John was writing this, and he was talking to his sister Martha, and he was asking her what that experience was like on the road, she said, I knew in my heart that Jesus was the resurrection and the life, and that whoever believed in him would have this eternal life, right? They would never die, and everyone who lives and believes in him will have eternal life. I believe this, right? And that's what she then witnessed in the raising of her brother from the dead. So I think that's the way to read this and not get all sort of confused about whether Jesus was walking around and saying, all this and that and stuff. It is what people understood to be true about the person and the power and the charism and the will of Jesus Christ in perfect alignment with the will of God. So Martha says, yeah. She says, yes, I do believe that you are the Messiah, the Son of God, the one coming into the world. So that's what that piece looks like. And we get to be asked the exact same question. Do you believe that Jesus is the resurrection and the life? And that when you believe in him, even that everyone who lives and breathes will never die? Do you believe you will never die? I believe you have the choice to never die. It starts right now. It starts right now in how you live your life right now. As an eternal being. Anyway, let's read on. When Martha said this, she went back and she called her sister Mary and she told her privately, the teacher is here and he is calling for you. Well, I didn't hear Jesus say that. Maybe Martha's just trying to get Mary out of the house to go see Jesus. Or maybe he said, hey, where the heck's Mary? I don't know. The narrative piece isn't written in here. Verse 29. And when Mary heard it, she got up quickly and she went to Jesus. Now Jesus had not yet come into the village, but was still at the place where Martha had met him. The Jews who were with her in the house, consoling her, saw Mary get up quickly and go out. They followed her because they thought that she was going to the tomb to weep there. So these folks have a huge amount of respect for Mary. And also it tells us something beautiful about how the Jewish community grieved together. Right? They were there for her, to mourn with her, to cry with her. Golly. It's good stuff. Verse 32. When Mary came to where Jesus was and saw him, she knelt at his feet and said, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. She didn't go on like Martha and say, remember Martha said that, Lord, back on verse 21, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would have not died. Same line. But Even now I know that God will give you whatever you ask him. Jesus says, your brother will rise again. And Martha says, I'll know will rise in the resurrection. But Mary, it's different. She says, Lord, had you been here, he would not die. Period. Good friends. And a little angry at Jesus. When Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who came with her also weeping, he was greatly disturbed in spirit and deeply moved. He was greatly disturbed in his heart, that means. Right, in that internal place. Right, I mean, maybe he's like, should have I come early? Could have I done something differently? He was deeply moved by their affection for their brother, right? That human sense of loss and what it means. Jesus understands what it means for us to lose a loved one, right? And second guessing that may come of that. I mean, he holds firm. He has a vision, right? But also he's moved. He's moved over what happens in your life, incidentally, because he loves you. When you're moved, your Lord is moved. And turn to him like Mary and Martha did. Always turn to him and say, dear Jesus, help me with this. And Jesus will always be moved, and he'll always be there, and something will happen. Whether it's what you ask or not, well, that's an open question. But never let that stop you from asking. It's good to see you. I'll see you tomorrow. You're in my prayers. I love you. Peace upon your soul.